and welcome to the Bog Halloween Special. No, we add in the witch cackle in post, Stuart, come on.
Oh, we're starting again then?
No, that's fine, we'll continue, I don't care.
Okay.
I'm here with my lovely co-host, Stuart. So to begin with, we've got a fun story written by Stuart himself.
My creepypasta is called My First Day at Halloween High School. It's based off of a true story. It's something that happened to me on my first day of Halloween High School. So it's creepypasta, it's based on a real story. Right, My First Day at Halloween High School, that's the title. My alarm went. I jolted out of the bed. My eyes covered in sleepy dust and drool coming out the side of my mouth. Drat! What an idiot I am! I thought as I realised I'd set my alarm half an hour later than I should have. I'll be late for my first day of school. If only Mom wasn't away on her business trips and Dad hadn't left me when I was a kid. Someone could have woken me up and driven me there. But no, I was all on my own. I would have to walk 8 miles to my new school, Halloween High School. I want you to edit a sound effect every single time I say Halloween High School.
What, like a sinister sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sluggishly walked over to my ensuite bathroom and looked in the mirror. I look like shit, I thought, and went to pick up my VO5 hairstyling gel. At my old school, I used to be a big loser with no friends. I attributed this to the fact that I looked like a totally unstylish dork. My unfashionable bowl cut and hand-me-down t-shirt that said Britney 2005 definitely wouldn't buy me any friends at Halloween High School. I took a huge glob of gel and worked it into my messy black hair. My aim to make myself look like Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. It took some time, but I think I managed to nail the epic spikes Vegeta had. However, time was against me. I would have to leave in 5 minutes if I was to make it to school on time. I rushed into my room and chose some rad clothes. A t-shirt that had a picture of the band 3 Days Grace on it. A pair of jeans with pre-made holes and rips in them, and fit really loosely, allowing my chubby thighs to not get too sweaty throughout the day. Nintendo Vans, with pictures of Yoshi and Birdo on them. I was sure a gamer girl would notice my shoes and immediately ask me to be her boyfriend. Finally, I put on my dad's army jacket that he wore in Nam. It still had blood on it from all the Vietnamese villagers that he slayed back in the 70s, and smelled of whiskey and tobacco. If anyone asked me where I got this cool jacket, I would recount the story of how my dad was the top fragger in the US Army back in the day and had over 100 confirmed kills. People would think that's totally badass and think that I was a badass too, since I was son of such a badass. I picked up my skateboard and rode it to school. Doing sick grinds on the handrails of all the stairs I came across definitely bought me some time, but I was still anxious and didn't want to get in trouble on my first day. I activated the turbo boost on the back of my skateboard and whizzed past a couple of students. They looked at me in awe and admiration. Hopefully they would tell everyone in school how cool and fast I was, and by the end of the day everyone would think I was an epic dude. Finally I made it to school, just as the first bell rang. I wiped the sweat from my brow and kick-flipped my skateboard into my hands. A small crowd of pupils circled me as I did this, but I smirked and said, "Get to class, there's nothing to see here," as coolly as I could. I went through the front door and I started to realise something was off. The school felt dark and cold, and all the pupils had a pale white complexion. I shrugged it off, since I had more important things to think about, like getting to registration on time. I looked at the planner I had been sent through the mail to see what room Reg was hosted in. Room 666, I thought to myself, not realising the significance of the number. I made my way through the spiraling corridors of the school. It felt almost like navigating myself through a maze. This school is totally weird, I again muttered to myself. Eventually, I made it to room 666, and to my surprise, I was the first kid there. Oh no, I thought, I'm unfashionably early. I hope I don't get made fun of for this, as I entered the room. I noticed the Reg teacher slumped over in her desk. She looked old, really old, and ugly, and she stank. She let out a horrible moan as I sat down. "Hey, it's my first day here and I began to say, but was quickly interrupted by, "No talking!" What a rude woman, I thought. But no sweat. I sat down and opened my jotter and began to doodle. Even though I wanted to be a scientist or an army man when I was older, I was actually secretly really good at drawing. Although I wouldn't let anyone know. If they saw my art, they might criticize it, which would totally bum me out. I would probably hang myself or something. Anyway, I continued to draw on using my hand to block off anyone from viewing. A bunch of students began to walk into the class in their respective groups. First came the jocks, who came in throwing a pigskin around and talking about sex and drinking and other cool stuff. Then came the popular girls, all dressed in really expensive clothes. They were bitching about a girl called Scary Kelly, but I couldn't understand why. I tried not to look like I was listening in and went back to drawing. But I was interrupted by a football hitting the back of my head. "Hey, new kid, what's your deal?" the main jock said while the other jocks laughed. "Nothing really, just waiting to go to my first class." "Oh yeah?" he questioned. "You actually like school?" I realised he was just looking for something to rib me for, but since I have an extremely high IQ, I knew exactly what to say. "No, school's for dorks, and I'm no dork." I waited several seconds. "Unlike you," the jocks gasped and began laughing at the main jock. He looked angry and his face went all red, and steam was coming out of his nostrils and ears. The bell rang just in time. "You better watch yourself," he said as he slammed his book and marched out of class. I started to walk to my first class, which was one of my favourites, math. As I wandered the corridors, I noticed more pale, sick-looking students. What's going on here, I thought. I kept moving, as not to be late, but accidentally bumped into a pale girl and knocked over all her books she was carrying. "Damn it," she said and started to cry. Sorry, I'll do that part again. "Damn it," she said and started to cry. "Hey, I'm sorry," I said and picked up her books for her. "What's your name?" "It's Kelly, but folks around here call me Scary Kelly because they hate me." "That sucks. I think you're really cute and you have a great personality. Want to be my girlfriend?" She looked shocked, then started to smile. However, behind me I could see some of the cool kids from Reg were about to pass by. I needed to make an impact on them, and not this spooky bitch. "Psych," I said. "Why would I want to go out with the ugliest girl in school?" She began to cry. The cool kids began to gather round. "Hey, new boy just made Scary Kelly cry." Oh no, that's the wrong voice, sorry. "Hey, new boy just made Scary Kelly cry. That's awesome." They all cheered for me and lifted me in the air and carried me to my next class. As I looked around, I couldn't help but feel pity for this girl, but I needed to secure myself a place in the top ranks of the school popularity structure. She made eye contact with me and began to mutter something. I was too far away to hear, but I began to feel really sick. "Put me down, guys!" I yelled. "What's the matter, new guy?" one of the popular kids asked. "Nothing, I just feel..." I couldn't finish a sentence because I puked everywhere at that exact moment. I tried to stop it, but my vomit was coming out like water from a hose. The cool kids looked at me with contempt. Being sick is a sign of weakness, and for that reason, they would never let me be a cool kid. Cool kids must be healthy and strong. I knew I'd fucked up, but But to make things worse, I got puke over the most popular girl in school, Daenerys Targaryen. She looked mortified. Her two friends took her by the arm and in unison said, "Let's get out of here before this freak pukes on us." Lying in a puddle of my own sick, I began to cry. How could this day get any worse? Little did I know it was about to get a lot worser. I cleaned myself up and went to math class. The teacher was a strict man by the name of Mr. Skunk. All the kids hated and feared him. I heard some younger kids saying, "Mr. Skunk doesn't like punks," a rhyme I never thought would apply to me. However, when I turned up for class, he turned to me and screamed. The whole class began laughing wildly. He wouldn't stop screaming until I sat down. Then the worst part began. "Are you aware how late you are?" I was too distraught to answer. Are you fucking aware? Yes, sir, it won't happen again. Yes, it won't. Because there will be no again. I began to feel dread as he reached under his desk. The other kid stopped staring at me and looked away like I didn't exist. What's he gonna do? I questioned, but no one would answer. I began to fear for my own life as I heard the sound of a blade being sharpened. Luckily, the young boy next to me had a change of heart and tapped me on the shoulder. You need to get out of here. If he catches you, he'll rip your face off and eat it. Who said that? Mr. Skunk shouted as he finally emerged from under the desk. He had killer written on his forehead and was now wielding a double-bladed machete. The entire class pointed at the kid. Dexter! What have I said about telltales? Dexter began to cry and soiled himself immediately. I'm sorry, he wailed, but it was no use. Mr. Skunk had already dashed towards him and beheaded him in an instant. Run, boy, run! He screamed at me. You don't have to tell me twice, I snarkily replied and grabbed my skateboard. Bursting out the classroom door, I activated my turbo boost and zoomed down the hallway, knocking down several oblivious kids in the process. Mr. Skunk was fast, so fast that he must have had cybernetic legs installed to gain such a speed. He was almost right behind me, but being such a genius, I juked him and turned my skateboard around, and went back the way I came. Navigating the school's maze-like structure, I finally made it to the front door. This was an exercise in futility, however, as all the doors were locked. I began to panic. I could hear the sound of Mr. Skunk's robo-legs catching up with me. Clank, clank, clank. Fear took its grip on me, but I knew I could beat this fearsome foe with a little bit of brain power. I skated to the school's gymnasium and searched for supplies that would help me. Unfortunately, the jocks from earlier were practicing their game here. The head jock immediately called me out. There's that new kid who called me a dork! Let's get him, guys! I don't have time for this! You can beat me up after school, just let me into the gym! It was no use. The jocks wanted to clobber me, and like an angry bull, there was no way of settling them down. I had to fight, but I'd never actually been in a fight before. My low muscle mass and poor diet meant I was no match for them physically, but I knew I could get my hands on a powerful weapon. I could win. I scanned the room for something I could use, but then it hit me. I could turbocharge my skateboards towards them, chopping their heads off, therefore removing their power. I did exactly that, but the head jock's neck was so thick, it snapped my board in half. Fuck, I thought. How am I going to get out of here? I began to hear the metallic clanks of Mr. Skunk again. Diving into the sports supply room, I looked for a skipping rope. This will stop him. All I have to do is run round him in a circle and tie this round his legs so he falls down, and he will have to admit defeat. The clanking stopped. I left the supply room to find Mr. Skunk standing in his battle stance. I have to admit, you've made it further than any other kid that was late for my class, but I'm not going to let you off the hook. You have to die! Not today, I cheekily replied, and the battle began. The adrenaline rushing through my veins made me faster than any cybernetic implant could. I was quickly running circles around Mr. Skunk. You know, all those pale kids in school are the souls of the kids I've murdered. If you lose this, you'll have to stay in school for an eternity. Not gonna happen. I've got dreams. I've got aspirations. I'm gonna be the strongest soldier in the US Army, and you can't stop me. Mr. Skunk looked stunned. The US Army? I was in the Army. In fact, I recognize that jacket. Did your dad serve in Nam? I stopped running and stood on the spot. Yes? Why? There's an emotional pause. What's your name, son? I was confused. My name's James. James Skunk. Then it hit me. Mr. Skunk was my dad. We embraced, and I started to cry. I'd finally found him. I'd finally found my dad who'd left all those years ago. I had so many questions, but I knew everything was going to be alright. BANG! My dad's head exploded, and he fell to the ground. No! I screamed, and looked to where the shot had come from. It was Scary Kelly, with a desert eagle in her hand. Your dad killed me and ruined my life, and you also ruined my life earlier today. You both deserve to die. No, Kelly, I just said those mean things because I want to be cool. But I actually love you. She looked shocked. Really? Yes. Will you be my girlfriend? For real this time? Of course! She hugged and kissed me, and my dad got up from the ground. How do you... The nanobots the army gave me in Nam can heal any wound. I'm so proud of you, son. All three of us hugged. And that was my first day at Halloween High School. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty good. If you managed to get through the entirety of Stuart's fun story, I thought it was good. Share your opinions.